Hello, dear students. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, or whatever the time is where you are while watching this video. I am Josiah Owolabi, your facilitator in EDU258 Computer Science Education Methods. I welcome you to the semester, and I'm sure that we are going to have exciting time together. Welcome once again. We commence right away. Lecture 1. Let us go. The first lecture in the series is titled History of Computer Part 1. History of Computer Part 1. We are not going to be able to exhaust the history of computer today, and that's why we have titled it Part 1. There are pertinent questions you should ask as a computer science education method student who is being trained to teach computer science in the secondary school. You need to ask, why are we talking about history of computer? Why history of computer? We are computer scientists, for God's sake. Why are we burdening ourselves with history? Then secondly, and we need to ask another question. Where did the computer start from? At what point in time did we shift from the former to the new? Just like we are shifting now, we are talking about new normal after post-COVID-19. How did it all started? The invention of the computer, from where did it start? Then we need to look at some of the non-mechanical counting aids. By the way, you know there are mechanical counting aids and there are non-mechanical counting aids. They started in a crude way to look at how to do some counting and get aids for counting. We are going to look at this also. 3 basic issues we are going to address in this lecture. I encourage you to come along. The first issue is, why history of computer? As computer science students, are we history students? Why are we burdening ourselves studying the history of computer? Yes, it's worth it. By the way, look at the first generation computer. Look at this. Very big, very big. Two of you cannot carry this computer. It's not like what we now have today, that you can even use your 2 fingers to hold a computer up. This was where they started. But then, this was not even where it actually started. So, why do you need to know the history? We will get back to where it actually started. Why bother about history? Look at history is going to link you. It's going to link the present to the past and then to the future. If you know where we're coming from, if you know how the whole thing has started, if you know the development that came on because of the efforts of other people, then it will benefit you. It will change your orientation. It will inform what to do. It will help you to appreciate the efforts made by several people in order for us to arrive at where we are today, where with the click of the button, we're able to do quite a lot of things. When it started, it was not like that. History of computing will help to sensitize us so that you will not just be a consumer. You'll be sensitized. Not only being sensitized, you'll be motivated to make your own contribution for the further development of computing beyond where it is now. So you see that history is key. History is a source of motivation for you to be able to become one of the inventors today, tomorrow. So just as I said, history will sensitize you to be able to contribute your quota in improving the technology for the betterment of humanity. So you see that history of computing is very, very key. It's very important. As a computer science student, as a computer science pre-service teacher, You need to be well armed with the history of computing. I don't need to say this to that. You are going out after this your program to teach students in the secondary school computer science. It's not just teaching computer science alone. You know, at that level they need to be motivated. So when you are armed with history, you can be, this can be forms of, can form a like addition to your delivery of the subject matter, and can keep the interest of the children going. Now we look at the little bit out of the history of computer, just a small portion of that. Of course, I just show you the fourth generation computer. As a matter of fact, that was not where it started. Invention of computer actually started, the genesis was because of problems related to mathematics, human problems related to mathematics. By the way, I told you the other time about Professor Charles Babbage. I was a professor of mathematics. Because of the need in mathematics, then the idea of computer came up. Of course, mathematics and computer, they are quite interrelated. I know some professors in computer who started as mathematicians and studied up till master's PhD level before they branched into computer. So computer invention came up as a result of problems that needed to be solved in mathematics. And because mathematics involves counting, then it's boring if you have to be counting and counting, especially when you have to deal with large figures. You need aids, and in those days, you know, technology was not in place, so they quickly started looking for aids to counting, and that leads us to the three basic aids we are going to look at today. We'll develop on this in subsequent lectures. They started in a very crude way, using their fingers, their pebbles, and the abacus. So we are going to look at these three areas. Fingers, this was where they started. They were using their fingers to count, to carry out simple additions, simple subtractions, and the rest of them. Look at the finger. You just look at the finger. This displaying the palm, then this one is turned the other way. So you look at this. This is the thumb. This is the index finger that you normally use to point at somebody. And then this is the middle finger, the longest of them. This is the third finger, and this is the little finger. But you see, all together in this hand, you have a total of 5 fingers. In this second arm, you have a total of 5 fingers. That shows you that using finger as a counting aid is grossly insufficient, because you'll be able to, with this, you'll only be able to deal with figures not above 10. For instance, if you want to add 5 plus 5, what do you do? There's 5. You have 5 fingers there, you have 5 fingers there. You simply count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Simple. But by the time you are dealing with figures above 10, 20, 30, and the rest, you see that this is grossly limited. But the interesting thing is that people were never tired. People were never fed up. Whenever they see limitation, then they would think again, what else can we do to take care of the growing challenge? And that was exactly what they did. They thought, what else could we do? Then they thought they could now use pebbles to take adequate care of counting beyond what mere human fingers could do. When I say pebbles, those of you from Ijebu-Ode, there's one hotel called Pebbles Hotel. It's not that hotel, oh. Pebble here is different. Pebble, they are simply small stones that have been made smooth through the action of either water and the rest of them. You see, water is very strong, though. You see, some of these stones were rough before, but water brushing on them constantly, You see what it has turned into. So pebbles are small stones. They are smooth. As you can see here, there are so many. So with this, you could deal with large figures. You could use this to count large figures. So even though it's it could handle more complex issues that the finger could handle, but then it's still limited. For instance, what they do here, you may choose to be counting. You have plenty of pebbles here. You can still count 100, 200 and all of that. Even using these pebbles here, you can do addition, you can do subtraction. Then they went further too to say, look, we can take better care of this addition problem by painting these different marbles in different colors. Then they said, okay, we can paint some black. The ones painted black, let them represent units. Then we paint some white. Those painted white, they represent tens. And then we paint some red to represent 100. So that just three marbles of different colors could give you something over 100. For instance, if you say black is tens, that means you have four blacks, 4. If you say if you say black is unit, that means 4 is 4. If you say white is 10, that means 5 is 50. 5 in 10 places. And if you say 1 is 100, that means 1 is 100. That means if you now have 1 red, 5 white, 4 blacks, then that will represent 154. So with that, you could have representation of over a billion, over a trillion. But all the same, this is still cumbersome, this is still grossly limited. But the interesting thing is that they kept moving. They kept moving, and this is a challenge to us. They were not just consumers. Once they see that development has reached a stage, then somebody would think, what can I do next to make it better? I throw that question to you, my dear students, pre-service computer science education teachers. What are you going to do to make life better, to advance the course of computing? Somebody thought that, look, we can have a kind of aid that can still help us better, and that gave birth to abacus. Between 2000 and 3000 years before Christ, that gave birth to abacus. Abacus is simply a wooden frame. You can see, look at my own abacus here. Look at my own abacus. This is made up of wood. This is made up of wood. Wooden frame, and then there are strings running from one end to the other. There are strings running from one end to the other. And then on those strings, strung on them, you have colorful beads. Some blue, some red, some green, different colors like that. So this is abacus. So if in your library, your mathematics library at school, where some of you are teaching, who are doing in service, if you don't have abacus there, your library is not complete. Ditto for computer science library, because this is actually where computing started. The idea of computing started from here, and it started growing from one state to the other until we got to where we are now. People believed that abacus actually originated from China. They originated from China, and already gave you the description of abacus. It's an amazingly versatile and efficient computing device. And it will interest you to know that many years after, even though in this part of the world, some of us don't even know what abacus is, maybe all through your secondary school days. Maybe some of you even teaching in the secondary school, maybe you have not even seen abacus before. Until now, but it will interest you to know that many years after we had abandoned it, people were still using it. For instance, in the Asian countries, China, people still use it. And I want to tell you this too. Maybe this can be one of the takeaways from here. That those of you who are parents, have little children in nursery school, or grandparents who have little grandchildren, you can use the abacus to engage the children to be having fun and yet learning something meaningful, something good. Children of age 5 who are in the nursery, age 6 who are just in the nursery, they can have lengthy songs, so many simple songs, good for their age. And then you tell them, look, you use the abacus to add. If you want to add 2 plus 2, move 2 from this string, move it to this side. Move another 2 from this string, move it to this side. Then count 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 2 plus 2 is 4. Write 4 down. You have so many like that. And the children will be making use of their hands. They'll be making use of their eyes. They'll be making use of their hands to write. And they are learning. They are doing sums. The same thing you can apply it for subtraction, multiplication, and division. And then those children are having fun and they are learning at the same time. Instead of them playing with something that will hurt them, you engage them in something meaningful and they are getting the best out of it. And so actually, computer went far beyond this. Computer went far beyond this. And from there, we began to have Napier bones, we began to have Enya, we began to have um, Univac, we began to have Mark 1, and then on and on until the stored program concept came in. Today is not for all that, I'm just doing a summary. Until we now have the fourth generation computer, second generation, third generation, fifth generation. I mean that we now have many of our computers are fifth generation computers. So it's a development, but this is started in a crude way. You may be doing something now, you may not see so much light, but if you commit yourself to it, your name can be part of history of development of computer. In closing, I would love to show you this video. Here you have a video here of somebody who is teaching how to use an abacus. I already explained briefly to you how to use the abacus. This you have the man here who also has this. You have several of such videos on the net. I will not be able to show you this video, but once I click on it, you see the video is going to be playing. You have several such videos on the net that teaches you how to use the abacus to add, to subtract, to multiply, to divide, and all of that, and to do quite a number of other things. So you can look at the internet, you see quite a lot of this, and yet you get to appreciate the abacus. Let's recap now. So far, we have been able to convince ourselves that studying history of computer is worth it. It's not a waste of time as a student of computer, because it will help you to appreciate those that have contributed to the development of computer. It will challenge you to also wake up and see what you can do in your own time. Now we are reading about Charles Babbage. We are reading about John Napier. We are reading about several others, Mark, and the rest of them. I am challenging you. They don't have two heads. Don't remain a consumer. As you study along, be thinking of what you can do. Your name has to be among them. And with determination, you can make it. And then we have looked at some of the early non-mechanical cantinists. We are going to look at mechanical cantinists later, and we are going to look at some other things to see how computer developed to where we are today. And abacus in particular, because we've seen how useful it is, how it functions, and how we can even use it even today to help our children who are in the early years in school to actually learn. Now, what are you going to do for me? If I've done something for you to present this, what are you going to do for me? You will look at different videos on abacus on the YouTube, and then you look at the different things they could do in performing binary operations, and you will pick the best out of that. And then after that, you will send to me, look at my email down below there, and you will justify the reason why you have rated that particular video as the best. I appreciate you for being part of this lecture. And this is Josiah Olabi saying bye for now. See you in the next class.